kept smiling. I can never find the right words to say. Only a handful of family ever sees my face. But I'm only human, don't we all make mistakes? I'm drowning in my head again, and my thoughts don't want me to win. They show compassion made of plastic, and I don't wanna be another tragedy, but I'd rather be dead than a skeleton dreaming about the things that he couldn't be. 'Cause I'm too impatient to wait for dreams.
Love me, 'cause I don't think I love me anymore. Maybe I think too much, so I drink to rush all my demons out the door. Tell me that it's all inside my head. Call it OCD, tell me it's you, not me, 'cause it's driving me mad. I don't think I'm losing my mind, building all these walls over time. Every time I find you. Find me. Did I lose myself in pride? My insecurities haunting my memories, 'cause I'm holding them inside. Let go, put my thoughts back into words. Feels like I let me down, ain't got no golden crown. I'm just trying to be right. I don't think I'm losing my mind, building all these walls over time. Every time I lose my way, I find you. I know that when fears start to hit me, know that you're the one to lift me. I find you. Yeah, I'll find you. Yeah, I'll find you. Every time I lose my way, I find you. I know that when fears start to hit me, know that you're the one to lift me. I find you.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Mini RPG of the Week number 33. That makes it week 8 of season 2. And we're bringing it back to basics here. It's like the first couple of weeks that we had. It's me alone, Nuale. Ignore the picture of the dog to my left-hand side, to my right-hand side. I don't know, stage right. me left, Deployer is here in the background, but he can't hear me right now because everything is very, very loud on his end. We're going to be bringing you another edition of Mini RPG of the Week, which of course means 15 minutes of warm-up for our players, which they are already a couple of minutes into, so we are going to jump straight on in there and see what's going on with them. Our map this week is built by Super Cusco, and the map is called Dress, aptly described as one of the maps ever. And that is all we really have to go on by Super Cusco. I'm lying. I have plenty more to go on here, and we're looking forward to seeing exactly how it does go with these players. On board with NTY22 at the moment. And this map is a relatively obvious route, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be easy, according to the mappers. We do see NTY trying to figure out where to go on this. It's a bit of a turnaround, jumping back up, trying to find speed, and then getting back up here for a half-pipe jump to a higher block, and respawning there, getting very close to the block in front of that respawn. I can definitely see that being a little bit of a struggle, and I'd imagine there's a double respawn with a booster attached to make that a little bit easier to get through. This scenery block jump, definitely an interesting one. I believe that is the one that the mapper has described as one where you can risk a bit by going low on the jump and gain quite a lot of time if you do so. We are going to see here NTY showing us what the alternative route looks like there, trying to skip over the freewheel block. And of course, if you come through that checkpoint at speed from the previous checkpoint, you will be forced over that freewheel block just at the angle that you're taking going through the checkpoint. I think I'm starting to see exactly what Super Cusco meant when he said that this is a straightforward map, but straightforward doesn't mean the same as easy. There's going to be a few jumps to catch people out. There's going to be some respawns that in and of themselves are tricky. And of course, when you're lagging, as NTY appears to be doing right here, that's not going to make life any easier for you either. Map like this has plenty of room for optimization as well. It's going to make life pretty difficult or pretty exciting in rounds. It will just come down to good, clean driving. I'm not necessarily seeing any points just yet where, like last week's map, some of the players are going to be complaining that things are difficult. And by difficult, I mean complaining about the potential to miss. As this does just look like it's going to be all about that optimization. The map, the route, straightforward. There is one path and one path only to be taken through each of these points. It all just comes down to how well in those 10 minutes you can learn to take the path. The ending jump also called out by our mapper, Mr. Super Cusco, as being visually striking and a lot of fun for that reason as well. So we'll see how that one goes during rounds as well. I'd imagine the side of seeing a few cars gracefully soaring through it, or not so gracefully completely missing that last jump, is going to be an awful lot of fun. But we have a lot of time to go before we get to that point. Yeah, 10 minutes in. Currently local record stand with Hazard at a 56.3. And Yannick's just behind him with a 56.8. Some of these players on a map this, again, straightforward but not easy, and we'll draw the distinction between those two concepts a couple more times before we're done here. But on a map this straightforward, you expect to see our best players starting to get good times relatively early, and then it'll all come down to the small optimizations and consistency, of course, as well. But we've been told that the mapper does expect a 55 to be a good time, and a 54.7 would be an excellent time. Not 100% sure what the author time is. Maybe we'll manage to figure that out at some point, but we have also been told that the author time has been hunted for a few hours, and so could be quite difficult to achieve during rounds. But again, with players of the caliber that we have here, definitely not impossible. As we can see that author time, or the local records being rapidly improved there. As the top two, top three influx at the moment. Tarpor has jumped up into that second spot at the moment. I will stay on board with Marius for a little while longer. This a map that, it's one of those weeks where it'll be interesting to see how Marius does. Marius, of course, does very well in Mini RPG of the Week by a lot of the time just driving safe lines. Even last week, taking the safe route through the map, even when it was distinctly slower a lot, and then throwing it all away in the top two when he went for the risky line in the last round, having not practiced it really up until that point, having not taken it in many of the previous rounds at all, if at all. And failing on that ultimately. On a map like this, where there is just the one route, but you can maybe get away with some slightly more conservative lines, I think we could expect to see Marius break top 10, and then it really comes down to just how hard some of the other drivers are pushing it, and how difficult it is to actually get those lines, those difficult lines, and the riskier ones down consistently. As you can see here, Purple Lyle trying to see early on how low you can go. Limit testing this last jump already, trying to figure out the speed and the optimal angle to get through it. And as seen there, there's time to be gained, but a risk of just bashing into that edge. Car bouncing off into the void. You don't want to bounce into the void. That's no fun. That's not a good time, and it's definitely not fast. Spammy Jr. climbing up to the top of the leaderboard. I have to imagine that is probably someone who has changed name, and it is neither Spammy nor Carl Jr. Probably one of the usual suspects for those various name changes, whose original names is escaping me at the moment, and so I'm sure someone in chat will figure it out and tell us before too long, or we'll figure it out halfway through the cup. They did quite well last week, which makes me relatively confident again, and with the time they're setting there now, that is in fact someone we know. Possibly a Ratchet or someone of that nature, but I guess we'll find out. With a low 55, that is a good time so far for Spammy Juniors. We're on board with Jura Jojo, heading towards the back half of the track right now. It's not quite going to be a 55, it's going to be potentially about a 56, but a crash at the finish will wrap that one up and mean that definitely not going to see the 55 from Jura Jojo for the time being, if at all, before the end of this 15-minute warm-up. The 15-minute warm-up that we are now about halfway through, as we're on board with Neko Jim, looking to get through these early parts of the track. I think we're going to potentially see how much effort goes into avoiding the grass in that section, if it's worth it. Heading into the half-pipe jump as well. Speed maybe not as relevant, it really does come down to judgment on that one, and then judgment here as well. Trying to get that pixel-perfect jump that has been described by the mapper as Craigasm when you get it. And yeah, we love a good Craigasm jump. That's one of the most fun feelings, and as I've said already, it's definitely going to be the theme of this map, is judging your jumps perfectly and trying to snipe at the end. That last jump as well, it's going to come all the way down to the wire, as it so often does in a mini RPG. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we do get to see a snipe here at the very end, someone going for a jump of the kind of angle that Neko Jim is showing us there. Maybe someone taking a little bit higher or a little bit lower, trying to get the flattest trajectory possible off that last jump. The flattest trajectory possible, getting you to that finish line in the shortest order possible. After which, well, you might just shave that 10th off you needed at the very end. Times at the top static for a little bit at the moment. BMX now going to maybe try and push things here on this run. That's an over jump though on the half pipe, and you can immediately see how much that's going to slow you down. Definitely could have recovered that. If this was rounds, that was not round ending necessarily for BMX, but it would have been a time loss of enough that by the late rounds that's going to be an issue. So every single jump a potential risk point. Even you can see the first couple of turns and trying to make sure you get all four wheels on the ground over those first couple of humps. That's going to cost you tenths, precious tenths at the beginning, and set the tone for the rest of the round from that point on. As we so often see in mini RPG of the week, someone becomes the leader, someone else becomes the hunter, and it's definitely not a position you want to be on late on. Trying to hunt someone down in front, especially when that person in front of you is someone consistent, is someone skilled, someone who's not going to easily give up their point. This turn, definitely one that could catch people out as well. I think fair to say that it is one that we've seen people fail on already, because trying to come out of a flat turn into a jump, it's a very easy way, and I know this because it's something I struggle a lot with when I'm driving RPG maps in general. But flat turns into a jump, they can definitely be, if you catch them a little bit too much of a drift, lethal. But we expect a lot of these players to continue to improve. That is a 54.8 by Spammy Jr., managing to improve that local record and being the first player inside those 54s, although Hazard did come very close, 18 thousandths outside them, with a 55.018 recently enough. I'm going to figure out what I've done. There we go. I'd managed to show a chat on the vMix overlay and lost a third of the screen as a result. I say a third, it was probably closer to like a tenth, but now we have it all back, and so I can see more of what's going on as we'll jump on board with Hazard, looking to join Spammy Jr. under that 54 mark. And that's a little bit high. I mean, these are the minor optimizations, right, at this point. That was Hazard looking very good and looking very clean and looking comfortable on every single one of these jumps, but just taking a little bit more air to the middle of the map, and that could cost you the 10th that you need to get underneath the 55. This is still an incredibly fast run right up until the finish, but you can see there a 55.139, and I'll say it, I do think that that jump that just was a little bit more airtime than maybe he would have wanted in the middle of the map was the one that mattered. Hope nobody suffers from vertigo at the moment, because if there's one thing I don't love, Floyer, you were on board with the with the GPS right now, so I thought we were going to get to see Deployer drive the map for a second there. I got really excited, but no, we'll just watch Super Kuzco drive it instead, I guess, and that's fine. And we'll see what the mapper is doing. That's an interesting one, getting onto the dirt by staying far to the left and using the banking of the dirt to get as little airtime as possible. And again, all of those tenths, those fractions could matter is that one of the optimizations that we'll see players adopt into it. This is Super Kuzco on board, and I'm wondering, is this GPS actually just the author time? Because it looks very clean so far, and Super Kuzco did tell us that it was a hunted author time. That's a nice early landing on that jump. Every jump on this run so far, a very early landing, getting all 4 wheels, or at least 1 wheel to the ground as quickly as possible, and getting that acceleration moving again, maintaining momentum, never losing velocity through the map. And this will look like a 54 point, about a 55, so that's definitely not the author time. It looked clean, but it could be faster. We've already seen people beat that time on the server here. No, I tell a lie, because that timer, of course, does count up from when the run to start the GPS starts. And so that, I believe, was the author time. That probably was about a 54.7, potentially lower. And so that, I believe, was the author one we just looked. That is what it's going to take to maybe get the author time. That could be what it takes to win tonight. As a round like this, a map like this, where each of the jumps is definitely consistent, where you're not worrying about strange edges, strange corners, does just come down to perfect judgment to get that perfect run. And when we get down to our top 3, top 2, it will be a test of judgment, and there'll be a test of composure to try and take those jumps, take those corners under pressure as close to perfect as possible without pushing too far. I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. Luckily, I won't have to wait too much longer. 90 seconds left here as Yannick will drive directly into a wall, but BMX is on a quick run. Once again, BMX a little bit high on that jump, and that jump in particular in the middle of the map does seem to be the one where people are treating it as safe and taking maybe a little bit more airtime than possibly they need to. And possibly that's what costs them just that little bit of time. This is going to be a 55.8 for BMX. A couple of imperfect jumps, but definitely a very good time nonetheless. Still, Spammy Jr. the only player to get under 55 seconds so far. Hazard still sitting on that time, just about outside it. Dark Horse just behind that again. Less than a tenth of a second separating their 2 times at the moment. And overall, by the time you get down to the end of the top 10, you are already starting to drop outside the 55. So while we have a couple of times described this map as straightforward, while it was described by the mapper as straightforward, we do have to stress again that straightforward, easy to navigate, does not mean the same as easy to drive, as these players are finding out at this point. And Marius, that's a very nice half-pipe jump. Great line then to take the boost, the down reactor, and get through this one. It's a little bit high and a little bit slidey through this jump, and you'll see Marius go back, try and take it again. That was a much nicer transition that time around. Pixel perfect, getting that back wheel landing first, and once again trying it, and once again jumping a little bit long, but managing to get there pretty quickly, and then onto the freewheel section. Landing with speed onto that freewheel, not drifting too much with your landing on the previous one as well. Going to be incredibly important, because you are then freewheeling. The acceleration that you lose, the speed that you lose, all that much more important as a result. We'll see how that goes for players in rounds. Gotta tell you, not my favorite style of map, the free floating ones. Like, I mean, the actual style, the track to be driven here, gorgeous. I love it, beautiful. No notes. Well done, Super Kuzco. Absolutely fantastic. The slight feeling of vertigo I get when I'm driving them, I don't know, it just puts me a little bit on edge, I'm not gonna lie. And hey, you probably won't find me hunting this map, not least because by the time our players are done with it tonight, I won't get anywhere near any kind of time that's driven there, and that'll just make me a little bit sad. 68 players jump in for our warm-up round. No elimination this time around, of course, as this is just a chance for the players to drive with other cars around them, to see what they're doing and get one last run in. And I said it, this wide turn where it's flat, if you try to take it a little bit too wide, if you nose slide around that corner, you are just trying to full grip it, you are potentially just going to find yourself at the widest part of the jump and fall straight off the edge. There's a worker just jumping straight off the edge. No encouragement needed there as Yannick heads towards the finish line. See what he gets. Well, it won't be a fast time because he is driven straight off the bottom of that jump. Jojo goes flying over it instead, and this last jump, it could cause drama all the way through the last few rounds as like I said, I think we're going to see some players start to take it very safely, jump very high indeed, but that's going to be an awful lot slower, and there is of course still the risk of over jumping it as well. There's no quote-unquote real risky finish here. The risk is all in your own approach to that finish. Sir Catsalot potentially going for a skip there, but I'm not 100% convinced that they've hit every checkpoint, or if they have, that is in fact the fastest way to drive that part of the track. It may be a way to drive that part of the track, but given what we've seen from this track overall is all about speed management, that is the way to go. That was a nice finish. I mean, bouncing off that border into the finish line. I'm not convinced that's easily repeatable, and that's probably not a rounds viable strategy, but hey, who knows? You get that perfectly right, maybe that's world record strats. No elimination in this first round. We will see how it goes. A couple of players joining us at the very end of that. 3 players, it looks like, jumping in right at the end of our first round. And hey, good luck. It's going to be a little bit hard if you have not had a warm-up just yet. ... As we'll wait for the server to load in. 8 players to be eliminated here in round 1. 71 of them starting on track. Well, I say 71, a couple left behind on the line. Enough players starting here on round 1, and it's at least 8 to be eliminated. I think this map's straightforward enough that we should probably just be seeing the 8, and it probably just comes down to, well, difficulty and how many players get off the line. Looked like maybe about 6 of them stuck there on the starting line, but we'll see how things progress then as the map moves forward. Scorp, FL, Scorpful. I don't know. Either way, they're struggling. They're not going to make it a little while. Logan a little bit further up the track, just playing it safe here in the middle, and that is enough to climb into 62nd place for the time being, and potentially a little bit further as a lot of players are respawning in front. 62nd place is safe for the time being, and Scorpful is going to be a little further back down the track, and that's a dangerous respawn, having to go a long way back. Should be coming up on the elimination timer any second now. There it is, 55 seconds, so a full extra the length of the map to complete it here. A couple of these players may need it. Omega is struggling on that jump, so is Scorpful, and the problem is that Scorpful just drove off the edge. They'd made it this far once before, and now they need to do it again. They will finally make it through there, but it's going to be a struggle to reach the finish line, I think, at this point. With half a minute left, I think we're going to see Scorpful drop out. The question is how many players in front of them are going to drop out as well. Logan is a long way up the track, it looks like, and that is the player in 63rd at the moment. So I think we're going to see it. Scorpful, unfortunately, I think, didn't make it very deep into the track in warm-up. So you know what? Doing Discovery here, making it, I think, about halfway through the track in a minute and a half, not the worst thing in the world. We'll get a lovely view of some hanging trees off in the distance as he does this turn a couple more times, trying to get across this jump. Will do so and call that a victory, but an immediate crash will not make it. 10 players eliminated here in round 1. Any big surprises? Doesn't particularly look like it. Logan will not make it across the time further up the track. Wale and Blue Lotus in front of them. Let's see how things start to shake on out from here. Somehow, Scorpful has just joined from Italy. Hazard is asking why the waterfalls are flowing upwards. I'm not sure he's noticed the upside down trees yet either. Nobody tell him. I think maybe upside down is possibly a theme of the map, but you know, much like your English teacher in school trying to describe theme to you, or your German teacher or French teacher, I don't know, whatever country you're from, whatever your local language was, whether you're reading Molière or Shakespeare, it all comes down to theme eventually and ignoring what your teacher was trying to tell you about it. And so Hazard clearly didn't pay attention in class. So that's all I'm saying. Hey, no shade, but like, maybe interpret a little bit better. Whatever, man. Lift cart is in the danger zone at the moment, but I saw a couple of players struggling on this jump, and so I think by the time they get across this section into the next checkpoint, there you are, up in 57th place and looking safe for the time being. Not the cleanest jump we've seen through there, but still plenty of speed to make it through and across here. May struggle to get across that next jump, and I think Davide will potentially as well. It's a neck-and-neck race here between Phil, and there's a lot of respawns coming through. Phil will just make it up the first jump and make it up the second, and that was cleanly through the middle. And that is enough to catch up with a lot of players, but it is going to be a bad checkpoint for Phil. And that's going to mean a double respawn right near the end, on board with Vax. The Vibe club tag, but this is not a vibe right now, as it is Vax having to go hard right, hard left, take this booster, and oh, it's still a difficult checkpoint, and you then need to get enough speed for this next jump, and that means a clean landing, and it's not looking easy right now. 30 seconds left on the clock for Vax to make this work. There you go, up and across. Now back down into the middle of the track. 26 seconds, and maybe still time to catch back up with the players in front if there's no mistakes yet to be made. Vax still in 58th place as they make it through another checkpoint. Is it true in the next one as well? It is. And a long way down the road. In fact, the cars in front, they may all have finished. This may be a doomed battle for Vax, who's still trying to make it. It's going to fly off the edge. If it wasn't doomed before, it may well be now. The second time of asking is just about going to try and get across the line. Is not going to make it. I think it was over anyway, but it was probably a close run thing. I think everyone else had caught up and finished eventually. But Vax will be eliminated. Tough, but we can see how these things go. We can see how these jumps are going to be a struggle for some of the players as they get through them. As we'll head down nearly to our top 50 players, a few more to eliminate before we get to that point, and this first turnaround still catching some players out as they try to get to the checkpoint at the top of it. Toto trying to catch up, and we can see the half pipe has caught a couple of people out there as well as they will be respawning. Toto trying to climb the ranks back into safe spots, will climb all the way up into 52nd. Ice now just outside those safe spots, but immediately climbing back up from them. And look at the speed Toto has through the middle of the map, maybe too much, not quite falling off the edge there though. And that allows them to cleanly navigate through this middle section, overtaking a huge number of cars and all the way up into 42nd. From the danger zone to middle of the pack, that's looking clean for Toto right now. Nabla is down in the elimination spots, will climb straight back out. Fasty 30 now down there instead. El Jojo is the player in 55th and is going to miss, and that'll be big mistakes, and Fasty crashing out as well. Not the Irish, not like this. Just a couple more jumps and there's still time to catch up with the players in front. Has more speed than Panda, or Panada I should say, who is just in front and may just come down to the last one or respawn in front. Let's go, Fasty trying to make it to the finish line, is jumping over the top. Was that a respawn for Fasty? It was, and that may cost them. No, they make it in 53rd as Panada can't get across the line. And I'll try not to sound so delighted about it, but hey, we love to see the Irish succeed here. What can you say? It's nice. It's nice. I would say quite a lot of these checkpoints are punishing if you have a bad respawn, unfortunately, as a lot of them do require, as Panada is showing us here, a little bit of zigging, a little bit of zagging, and managing to jump in. You jump too low off the bottom of this last checkpoint. Off that last jump, you're going to go shooting out to the right side, and that's no way to get across the finish line. A valiant effort by Panada, 55th place finish, not quite able to get there. Banter going backwards and forwards in the chat there as well. Softy guy, better at making MRPG maps, but you know, this is pretty good. I'm enjoying watching this one so far, and I'm looking forward to the battle we're going to have once we get down to our last handful of players. I do think that's going to get incredibly close. Rocket Gamer 130 needs to turn this car into a bit of a rocket ship in order to catch back up to the pack right now, but isn't falling out of touch just yet, and will already have climbed up to 49th place. We're on board with Neko Gym, a familiar sight here in Mini RPG of the Week, and that's a clean transition. You'd imagine that'll be enough to catch up a couple of places, but no, it looks like players are really adapting to that first part of the map, and if you fall behind early, then the middle section not causing them too many problems. That's going to be a dangerous jump for Neko Gym. I'm not convinced he made it across that one. Fasty very high over the top there, just about holding on to 49th place for the moment, and with speed coming through there, a crash in front means a little bit safer into the safe zone for Fasty, a little bit higher up the leaderboard. Rocket Gamer still on the climb, still on the charge, still in 49th place. Jaxie is right behind, maybe being punished by one of those checkpoints from earlier on, and a low jump. Jaxie, no! It's going to be difficult to recover from there, but there may have been a players in front. Crashing out a second time of asking is not going to make that easier. Third time of asking will be safe across the line, but it's in 51st place. Unfortunately, there were players failing in front as well. It may have been tough. Davide will drop out as well in 52nd place? 52nd place. An odd 45, and one more player out as well. We're inside our top 50. We'll see how things go from here. Tarpour looking at that transition before the engine off block and complaining about it. I'll be honest, it looks very satisfying when we're seeing players get it right. But I think maybe the only element of the map where you can get a big slowdown as well. You tilt the car a little bit too much. Left side, the outside of your wheel hits the ground. Things start to go a little bit wrong. Starts to feel a little bit painful. But hey, I'm sure it'll be fine. He's a good enough player. He'll figure it out as we're on board with Phil, and he needs to get good pretty quickly here. He needs to catch up to some of these cars in front, as that'll make things easier. Someone bouncing off checkpoint, but this jump, I don't know if Phil's going to make it. He won't. Back wheels catch on it. And that means Phil sliding into oblivion and potentially sliding right on out of the competition. That crash there, now just about enough speed. He's scrambling, he's on the edge. I think he still has enough speed to make this checkpoint, but it's going to be tough, and he's going to need to drive very well in the back half to catch up. Maybe helped out by a couple of mistakes in front. See Phil in front is going to be on that danger zone edge as well, lagging a little bit potentially. Maybe lagging all the way out of the competition. Matrix is now trying to catch. There's mistakes in front. More speed for Matrix. Needs to nail this last jump. Nails the last jump. Slides under and over. Takes someone mid-air to take a 45th place. That's the power of that last jump, and we said it early in the warm-up. We said it early. A flat jump there could gain it, and we've got our first evidence right there from Matrix. Climbed all the way up to potentially 44th place. I'm not convinced that MRSWE has made it through. I'm going to wait and see what the eliminations actually end up being. They will not. The scoreboard was lying to you. I'm getting better at spotting that. I'm definitely getting better at spotting that. And I figured something odd had gone on right there. That will be MRSWE Mr. Swee. Possibly Mr. Swee? I don't know. Knocked out of the competition anyway. Yannick, we haven't seen a huge amount from the last little while, is still without a time inside those 54 seconds, but there are two players there now. Tarpor has joined Spammy Jr. in that elite club, sub 55 seconds, but they are the only two players there. Spammy Jr. has improved all the way down to a 54.7. Fasty has been holding on by the skin of their teeth for a little while now, but has been holding on. White knuckle grasp too, and with a car flying out in front, will continue to do so. That's a bad respawn for Ramos. And that's going to mean taking the long way around, still managing to accelerate. And maybe there's room to catch up here. The car in front forced to respawn, and Aramis overtaking lots of people. A tricky section through the middle of the track there, and Aramis has overtaken multiple people all the way up into 40th place. Wolfie just about climbs that gap and jumps over Yog. Could be dropping out nice and early here. That's going to be a double respawn, and Yog forced to take that one, dropping a long way, and will just choose the DNF. Taking themselves out of the competition and figuring there was no way back in there. Can Fiskin snipe someone at the end there? That looks like two cars in front that have slid out. Fiskin just needs to get across the line, is scraping under in 42nd place. Wolfie sniped it at the line. Wolfie sniped it at the line just about. I believe. No, it was Mr. Nemaj who was behind. No, it was Mr. Nemaj a long way behind. I think Mr. Wolfie sniped that one at the line. Whew. Fiskin, it was very close. It was very close. Got caught on the finish line, and with the traction in water, just not quite able to scrape across it, not quite able to crawl across that line in time. Matrix got through by the skin of their teeth once. Since then, has been vibing. Does have the 5th place time on the leaderboard, so, you know, being that far down and messing up this first jump as well. Thank you, Deployer. You were prescient on that one, managing to stay on board with one of our front runners who is now on a climb back up. Matrix with a lot of work to do on this round. It'll be made easier by some of the players in front having to respawn on the half-pipe jump onto higher ground. Matrix takes that turn a little bit wide, but gets inside the checkpoint, and carrying speed into this jump will transition nice and cleanly, and will be charging further away from the bottom of the table. Rocket Gamer, also a player that's been living on just about for the last little while, and probably will live on here as well. Looking okay through the middle of the map, and should be a decent transition here. It's not the fastest we've seen, but it's definitely fast enough and a good line to keep him going further up that table, to keep him climbing away from the elimination spots. Luce's, on the other hand, is still inside him. There's cars within sniping distance. Luce's, I think, may have caught wheels on the inside there. See if he's still speed to get across. There's going to be cars dropping to the finish line. NTY's upside down, and Luce's snipes as NTY unlucky to hit that finish line, not quite able to keep it low, and Matrix unable to make the climb. A couple more mistakes costing him off camera there. The player with the 5th place local time, one of the few players within touching distance of that sub 55, drops out in 41st place. And meanwhile, at the top of the table, Spammy Jr. continues to extend their lead all the way to a 54.59. Incredibly quick so far by Spammy Jr. But hey, it's Mini RPG of the week, and that means we expect to see our at least half our top 5 drop out early in rounds. At least. Probably more, if we're being totally honest. We'll wait and see. In the meantime, we'll stay on board with Nabla, the player from France, looking to climb back up, joined by Nalix and Fasty. Hey, a familiar face in our bottom 4, working hard to become the protagonist of tonight's episode of Mini RPG of the Week by keeping his name on our lips as often as possible, but he's climbed back out of the danger zone for now. And we'll look safe. Nabla's not going to be able to make that turn. That no slide, that turn, that angle, very difficult. This is a difficult respawn for Nabla, who will eventually manage to navigate a 3rd time of asking, and now has a lot of work to do to climb back up. Black Pulse as well. What are you doing back here, man? What are you doing having to double respawn on this jump? Don't you know how much time that costs? It's a lot. It's an awful lot, and it is going to be a 37th place at the moment for Black Pulse, and a lot of mistakes necessary from the cars in front. Let's watch on this last jump. Can Nabla snipe? Looking to take it very flat. Snipes one. Just about. It's so close. What was that? 300ths of a second as Nabla had speed and overtakes the car in front after the finish line. It's a bad place to overtake the car in front, and I think probably the more important story right now is did Hazard drop out? No, Hazard just momentary disconnect. The scoreboard lies to me again. Hazard stays safe, our player with the 5th place local time now, having someone overtook Matrix. I believe Ice has worked their way up there, knocking Hazard down to that 5th place spot. But it's okay. Hazard stays safe. Nabla so nearly made it in, had the speed, but couldn't quite get it. And Black Pulse has only just noticed the double respawn way. Yeah, it's rough. It's very rough. It is very difficult in the middle of the map. That is not a jump you want to fail, and unfortunately it is eminently failable. Good guy Bence denied Nabla on the last round, and now is looking to be denied themselves. He's going a little bit slowly. It's a good jump though. Will be a little bit slow on this block, but is not as slow as the car in front. Will overtake Sir Catsalot through that middle section. This is a good angle. It's a safe angle for Sir Catsalot to get across here, and plenty of speed to make these jumps in the middle at a bad angle. And that's going to send the car riding up that checkpoint. It's going to send it off the edge as well, and it's a double respawn for someone behind too. Liftcart is the player in the hot seat at the moment in 30th place, and it is the player going to be crashing again, and that's going to make it a little bit harder to catch back up, losing another second or so there to the players in front. And Liftcart, there is a respawn, and that means room to catch back up. It needs to be a good finish. It is a good finish. Liftcart is safe. Purple Lyle will drop out. Sir Catsalot will drop out. Import will drop out. Oh, double check. Am I being trolled by the scoreboard again, or is Hazard actually out? Sir Catsalot will drop into the void, spamming the horn the entire way down, and honestly, it's a noble death. A Viking death for Sir Catsalot, as Import will just try this double respawn way a couple more times. Yeah, Black Pulse was talking about it, and it's rough. It is genuinely probably one of the most skill-intensive skill-intensive parts of the map, which is not where you want to be when you're forced on a double respawn. Hazard did drop out. Hazard dropped out. Huh. I'm going to assume something funky going on with internet connection or PC there, because we did see him appear in the elimination on the scoreboard at the end of the last round, which usually implies someone has had a brief disconnect and then managed to rejoin. But either way, that's Hazard gone early. One of the faster players on the server will disappear. Sir Catsalot is pretty happy with that, having the no KO round as your discovery, and then climbing up to 33rd, halfway up the leaderboard mid-pack. No shame in that at all. No shame inside finishing top 50% on a mini RPG of the week, especially when you consider the quality when you get inside the top 20 of our players every single week. Neko Jim looking to push for that top 20. Spammy Jr. probably looking to push higher than that top 20, but a long way down at the moment. BMX has just DNF'd, and so will no longer be fighting for any position beyond 29th. Neko Jim and Yorshmi Veloce, they both want to be fighting further on into tonight though. They both want to make it out of this, and Spammy Jr. especially needs to get a good finish here. It's low, it's flat, it is faster than the car that was in front, and I believe, yes, has denied Yorshmi Veloce the spot inside the top 25. Will deny them any further. Fasty will finally drop out. Finally gone. It's been a pleasure, but it had to end sometime. There's only so long you can spend with that flashing red screen before the pace catches up with you. BMX gone, Fasty gone, and Ramos gone, and Yorshmi Veloce gone, and that's a heavy round. A lot of recognizable names gone. Sir Catsalot has only just noticed the clean transition in the middle instead of having to jump over the road border. And probably, yeah, that is a decent reason for someone to have to drop out. And the fact that they're 33rd still doing it, I think a decent example of what Marius has shown week on, week out in Mini RPG of the Week, which is taking a route that you know and doing it consistently and safely is probably better than taking a risky route and doing it slowly. Looker's Turbo is taking the route he knows, but doing it slowly right now, unfortunately, as that was a bit of a crash on an earlier checkpoint, and it is a lot of work to do for Looker's Turbo, for Tarpor, and for Velour de Porc. A lot of good players just there. And of course, good guy Bence, who knocked Nibla out earlier on by scraping across the line. 100th, 200ths in front, whatever it ended up being. It was close, I know that much. We'll need to try and scrape across the line in front of someone else now, is maybe relying on a mistake in front, is going to jump high. Maybe we'll have a snipe. It looked like someone was behind. No. Just a trick of the eyes there. Good guy Benson, 22nd. Looker's Turbo in 23rd. Tarpor in 24th. And there goes some very good drivers indeed. We are getting to the point of the competition where it's maybe not too surprising to start to see our very good drivers drop out. Our top 20 have a lot of quality left in them. Seeing players in the top 15 start to drop out, maybe no big surprise. But still, they'll have wanted to go deeper. The nice times come out as Yannick's takes away the local first to 54.4. Very, very good indeed. Maybe Yannick's looking to add to his tally of Mini RPG the Week wins here. Maybe. Still though, a long way to go before we get to those last couple of rounds. No big surprises early on in this one. As Norman Deter. I don't know, I've never figured out if it's meant to be read Deter or Deter. Is it French? Is it English? Am I just pronouncing it wrong in both languages? Yeah, probably. Either way, he may be back up into the safe zones as the car goes sliding out beside him. And he will overtake the car that was in front of him as well. Romain will drop to 17th, and it's him in the hot seat. Liftcart in 18th place at the moment. Will climb up into 17th. As Wolfie is all the way down in 18th. Neko Jim down in 19th. Rocket Gamer there as well. And it looks like a couple of players will be respawning at that finish line. That means room to catch back up. Wolfie is there. Look at the speed of that car that went rocketing in front. That was Rocket Gamer, I believe. Someone flying across that line. And it does take Wolfie out of that safe spot. Mange-moi le Bolet will drop out as well. Damolos in 21st. And Neko Jim will take a 20th place finish in Mini RPG of the Week number 33. The one with the health booster really awkwardly to the right. Jaxie, I think we all know the one you're talking about. It was the exact one Black Pulse was complaining about. As I say complaining, the one that he noticed. The forced double respawn with the platforming in the middle where you take a turn to the right and you take a couple of jumps in quick sequence. We'll look at it again when we get to it. It is tough. The double respawn there is not a double respawn you want to be taking. It is, I think, definitely one of the hardest parts of this map. With that said, Rocket Gamer finding some struggles of their own on our last round of 4 eliminations, and it is going to be a brutal last round of 4 eliminations, taking us from 17 players down to 13. Well over a fifth of the field being wiped out here. One of them might be Spammy Jr., who on the last round regained the local first. To see them drop out here outside the top 10 in our last round of 4 eliminations, that's going to be a tough one. The DNF for Roma, there is only 3 players being eliminated, only 3 elimination spots left, but that just still means you have to get inside the top 13, and Ice is trying to catch back up, relying now on a mistake in front, and it's a struggle to rely on those now. I don't think it's enough. Ice will cross in 15th, Spammy Jr. in 16th place. Oh boy. Blown open at the top. We have not seen Yannick's. We have not seen Worker. We have not seen Corzo. We've not seen Marius down near the bottom in a while. These players that you expect to see near the top, they've been clean. They've looked okay. I mean, it's hard to say that mistakes are going to start costing them a top 10 now when we get so close to it. But it could still happen. Mistakes at any time, they can lead to disaster. Liftcart has been holding on, has been another player who I haven't necessarily mentioned that much, but I have said his name a lot because credit to him, he's been in those danger zones and has managed to hold on, has shown the composure under pressure that is necessary when you're driving off. That's Controller DC? Controller DC. Must be. Liftcart, I'm sorry, I cursed you by finally praising you, giving you the credit you deserved, and it led to a drive straight off the edge. Jura Jojo needs to catch back up. That is Liftcart a long way out of the running at the time being. And Jura Jojo with players in front with time to gain though, as he is catching up on Norma in front. I believe it is just Deter. It's probably Norma that has the team. Maybe? I don't know. That's Liftcart overtaking someone though. No, it's Alpha Dream dropping back. Jura Jojo overtaking. And it's Jura Jojo overtaking Worker as well, who drops out to Alpha Dream on the finish line. Alpha Dream stays safe, overtaking his clubmate, if not teammate. I don't know what's going on with that club tag. Spammy Jr. is Anix. That makes a lot of sense. I was trying to figure out who it was. I did think it was someone. I figured it was someone that we knew. And Workers with the... with a lot of X's. It's a lot of X's, as they will drop out just outside the top 10. Denied that Liquipedia page appearance. But Alpha Dream stays alive. And they'll take that every day of the week. Yannick's behind for a little bit, but we'll climb back up into the top 3. That first checkpoint deceiving a little bit, as it does come down to how quickly you come out of it, not necessarily how quickly you go into it. Deter is down here at the back. A good transition though, and there was one bad one in front. It was in fact Jojo forced to regain and will now be looking to take this turn. Will gain a little bit more speed, but maybe not the angle. Does have the angle and the speed, but still trying to catch up on Deter, who is in front for the time being. Millennium is a long way down the pack. Player who has not been on the radar at all tonight. Jojo taking the low angle through the trees. Has sacrificed speed. No, has as much speed as Deter going through this, and that little shortcut has gained the position, and now comes down to the end. It's a flat out race to the end. It's very flat. It's very low by Jojo, but judged to perfection. And in fact, Nalex had failed in front of them. Luce has failed as well. Luce is across the line in 11th place. Jojo and Deter, both of them, I don't know, I don't want to say deserved the spot, but they had a great race to the finish line. Jojo pushed it to the limit on that last jump, and both of them rewarded for it. That was an exciting round to get us inside our top 10, and I cannot imagine the action slowing down anytime soon. Once we saw this map in the warm-up, I said, you know, straightforward but not easy to drive, and those are the kind of maps that often lead to an exciting battle at the end. Hostel just about keeps it on track. So close to dropping a wheel off that right hand side. As we head towards our top 5, I am looking forward to seeing the battle as we get there. Goal, the player we also haven't talked about a huge amount tonight, is now in the danger zone, and well, the danger zone keeps getting closer to the top, so absolutely no shame in that, but still we'll be looking to stay alive a little while longer, and it is definitely going to be a battle of pure pace from this point out. Gold will manage to not quite overtake anyone. It's Jojo, and there is more speed on Gold. It's Jojo dropping behind. This time around doesn't have the angle to stay low through the trees, and will be dropping slightly further behind on these second couple of jumps. And as we get closer to the end, that's maybe a gap he can't afford. We saw Jojo go incredibly low last time around. Once again, no, a little bit higher, and this time around going higher means he doesn't have the angle to snipe out anyone. Alpha Dream stays in 7th place. Gold overtook up to 6th. But it's Jojo and Deter who finally drop out of this competition. 8th and 9th place for them. And look close. It's tied at the top still. 2 more players to be eliminated. And then we head down to single elimination. A lot of these players have not faced the elimination zone yet tonight. And Alex, one of the players who has. Will he continue to hold on? Will he manage to secure himself a top 5? Can the players who've consistently been at the top, your Golds, our Mariuses, our Yannexes, can they continue to hold on? Gold at the back again. Was narrow at the end of the last round, and it'll be a difficult comeback now. Great speed, great transition from Hostel. Alpha Dream has more speed than Corzo, but it's all about holding on to it in this turn, and Corzo looks to have done maybe a slightly better job. No, Alpha Dream came back on the outside. Wider line, but enough speed to keep it in front at the moment. They have a better landing, though, than the car in front of them, and that will mean both of them overtaking Hostel for the time being, but Hostel with a better line, going lower through that turn than either of them. Alpha Dream gaining slightly. Corzo deeper inside, keeps it tight to the wall on the outside there as well, and now it's up to Alpha Dream to go low to try and snipe it away at the finish line. He's very low. He's done it. He's sniped away Corzo at that line. Gold will cross in 7th place, and it all comes down to the finish line as Alpha Dream finishes in front by a 10th to stay in while Corzo goes home. That's exactly what we wanted to see out of that finish. That's exactly how we wanted to see it used by the players. Choosing your own risky finish, choosing how low you want to go. Call it a limbo. And that was a limbo that Alpha Dream won out on. The tension ratchets up. 1 player eliminated at a time now. And I'm not sure you can trust mistakes now. We saw 1 mistake last round, but only 1 mistake with our top 5 in place. Well, there is the mistake. It happens in the same place it happened last round as well. Last time around, it was Gold. This time around, the mistake belongs to Hostel. The question is, do any of the players in front make another mistake, or any of them playing with HUD on? Do they know they can play it safe? Because they can. They have the gap built up to Hostel at the moment. A full 2 seconds between them and the car behind. Alpha Dream, the car that is in 4th place, but again, it's a safe 4th place. It is a safe finish allowable. Don't need to miss Alpha Dream. Oh, that was so unnecessarily risky. So unnecessarily risky by Alpha Dream. I mean, hey, got him 3rd place. Does that matter in this round? Not at all. Not even a little bit, but, you know, full credit. It looked cool, so, nice. We'll take it. Hostel, unfortunate with the mistake. The wheels clipping on that transition, and it will mean a 5th place finish, but that is a good, solid 5th place finish. We take those. And to come 5th behind players like Marius, like Yannex, like Alpha Dream, And like Alex, who's still here in our top 4, despite being the only one of these 3 players to really see the elimination zone tonight at any point, there's no shame in that at all. Oh, well, rip. That was nice for Alex. Yeah, Alpha Dream, he's just training that fast finish. And hey, it worked last round. He can train it again this round if he wants, as Alex is going to be a long way down the track from the 3 cars in front. Marius is 3rd place at the moment once again. I think if there is a player you trust to play it safe when they're in 3rd with a gap of 4 or 5 seconds behind them, probably Marius. Probably Marius. He's cruising. It is a vibe from here on out. And I don't mean that you get to pull a virtual at the finish line. Marius to get up. That was a fail. Who failed? Did Alpha Dream fail? He did. He's practiced that risky finish and it may have cost him. Nah, he's still fine. Yeah, of course he is. He's 11 seconds. What? Look, I tried to type it up a little bit and then I actually looked at the scoreboard and I was like, ah, never mind. Rip. Unfortunate for Alex. Who knows? They've been able to catch up if he'd managed to stay a little bit closer, but another mistake in the middle of the track. It expanded that gap from 5 seconds to 11, and as a result, Alpha Dream practicing the risky fin does mean that he's safe. What a top 3 this is, though. Alpha Dream, Yannick's, and Marius. Who will be our top 2? Honestly, incredibly hard to call at this point. I mean, sure, Yannick's and Marius, right? Like, I mean, incredible players, but Alpha Dream, absolutely no slouch, but this is the jump that will start to separate them out a little bit. I'd say that it has closed the gap, but it has not led anyone to a clear lead right now. That's a bad transition for Yannick. He gets the slowdown, tilting the car a little bit too far in his efforts to get as quick a transition as he could to maintain his speed. And now he's on the prowl. Now he's looking for a mistake in front. It was a high jump for Marius, but it's a safe jump. It meant no risk, but it does mean slow down. Yannick pushes too hard and it pushes it straight into a tree. And it is a yep tree that will lead to a 3rd place finish, barring Alpha Dream failing this finish. Nah, he plays it safe this time around. Marius crosses in 2nd place. We have a top 2. And they have a tree to thank, as Yannick was definitely fighting his way back in. How does this top 2 go? Cleanly is the hope. A race to the finish line. A battle from start to finish. Not too much to ask for. This first jump, this transition, this turnaround, maybe the first place we could see separation. Marius jumps slightly lower and will get out faster, but maybe then slightly more speed for Alpha Dream. In fact, there is slightly more speed. That won't matter too much. This half pipe coming up, and this is maybe the 2nd point to catch back up. Alpha Dream with more speed, you could see that, but Marius with a quicker landing. Alpha Dream, though, coming out of it with more speed means that he has gained ever so slightly on Marius. A matter of less than a 10th mistake. That transition will claim one more victim tonight. Its last victim is Marius. He's made top 2 twice. Wait, Alpha Dream. He's a little bit slow now. Maybe Marius can come back in. Maybe there's still a chance. Marius is 2 seconds behind, 1.5 seconds. Has he gained it all? Not really. That's a little bit high. The transition not as clean as you'd like. Alpha Dream, it's on him. He just needs to play it safe. He can afford to lose a 10th, 2 tenths, 5 tenths, whatever it takes. He just needs to keep this one clean to the finish. This is no time to be practicing your risky finishes, Alpha. He will not. He'll make it across the line, take a 1st place finish. Marius will take a 2nd, 2 weeks running. But it is a clean 1st place for Alpha Dream. At times it looked in doubt. At times he made it riskier than it had to be. But the practice on the risky fin wasn't even necessary, to be honest. His opponents did it to themselves. And we love to see it. A huge W. And another week of Mini RPG of the Week in the books. Congratulations to everyone involved. I mean, a fun week to watch, absolutely no doubt. A great addition all around for our players. We started with over 60. We started with 71 players. We dropped it down to just Alpha Dream remaining in the end. And week 33 ends, I mean, on another mistake from Marius. 2 weeks running where we've seen him throw it all away right at the finish line. But you know, I mean, you have to give credit to the guy for continuing to get those top 2s week on, week out. I believe he's still uncontested at the top of the table with the most 1st place finishes of anyone in Mini RPG of the Week, and continuing to put himself in those positions. He's going to get another one soon enough, you have to feel like. A reminder that, as always, Mini RPG of the Week is always looking for more maps. I say that, we do have a bit of a backlog to get through at the moment, but we're not complaining about that. And if you do want to add another map to the pile, if you do want to see your map played on Mini RPG of the Week, we're always welcoming them. I believe get in contact with Zederate over on the RPG Discord server. You can find that by hitting the !Discord in chat. and joining there if you're not already a member. Of course, there's more details about Mini RPG of the Week. If we ever run any more special events again, that's where you'll get information about them. And get in contact with Zederate, who is, of course, the admin for this competition. Thank you very much to the deployer behind the scenes. Thank you all for joining us here. Don't forget to join us back next week when we will be back with edition 34 of Mini RPG of the Week. And for tonight, hey, head on over to twitch.tv/TimeAttack, where I'm about to jump on a Rocket League podcast. And I mean, hey, it's all cars, right? When it gets down to the end of it. Deployer fully in the Matrix. I don't know. Are we? Do you take the headset? Am I just a dream at this point? Am I just part of the virtual reality? Don't take the headset off, Deployer. Please, don't kill me. Don't put me away. I don't want to go in the box, Deployer. Good night.
Won't you come to bed soon? Wait in my bedroom, counting the hours till you get to me. Watch by the white room, stuck in my bedroom, counting the hours till you get to me.
Yeah, some people like me are just destined to fuck up everything that we mess with. If I was made as a joke, I don't get it. Missed the call, but I guess I got the message. Usually I fall too hard, I'm addicted to pain. And if the world's on fire, I'll be swimming in flames, yeah. Cause I'm too impatient to wait for change. I know I'm far from perfect. My name, but I don't even know my name. Going insane, putting heavy on my brain, and I don't even know my name. It's a story about a ID crisis. Used to think my only future was the night shift. Brain on ADHD, autopilot. And through it all somehow I kept smiling. I can never find the right words to say. Only a handful of family ever sees my face. But I'm only human, don't we all make mistakes? I'm drowning in my head again, and my thoughts don't want me to win. They show compassion made of plastic, and I don't wanna be another tragedy, but I'd rather be dead than a skeleton dreaming about the things that he couldn't be. Cause I'm too impatient to wait for dreams.